Hello everyone, you're very welcome to the Department of Tourism at LYIT in our infamous Killybegs campus. The purpose of this video today in this live streaming is that we're launching our newly staff-led Chef Academy. This initiative is very much about reaching out to the professional market and also to secondary schools throughout our region. So we thought no better way to kickstart it but by giving you a live demonstration on how to cook your Christmas dinner. I don't know about you, but I for one definitely need tips in that regard. I've my colleague here, Tim Dewhirst, who has worked here for many a year as a chef in Killybegs and has trained quite a numerous amount of infamous chefs. So Tim will go through with us the various different steps to give us the tips along the way. So I'll hand you over to Tim now.
Thank you, Nicola. So the idea of doing the demonstration was really to try and show people at home perhaps there's an alternative method to produce your Christmas dinner that would be a lot faster, save a lot of time and reduce an awful lot of stress. And I'm familiar with the fact recently, once I got married, that the Christmas dinner is incredibly stressful and I didn't realize how stressful it was. So I'm going to show you how we would ideas that we would use in the professional kitchen that you can apply to your domestic kitchen and again save some time, reduce your energy bill certainly, and hopefully you can just follow me and we'll work our way through it. So we're going to start with mulled wine. That's really going to kick off Christmas for you. So over here I've got a container of cranberry juice, and this is a real simple recipe. So into your pot you just want to put 1 litre of your cranberry juice, 1 litre of orange juice, and half a litre of your apple juice. And you'll need some additional spices that are going to help you finish off this either non-alcoholic beverage or not. It's entirely up to you. If we finish it with red wine, obviously we're going to have to burn off some of that wine. And
tell me, Tim, just I suppose for the listeners at home, all of these products are kind of household products. So I know today you were very conscious. You went to Lidl and purchased all the products, isn't that correct?
Yes, we got as many as we could. The majority is definitely from Lidl, and everything we're doing here today, everything has been purchased from a domestic source, so there's nothing industrial.
So just because we're a teaching school, all of this stuff's available?
Perhaps the pots are slightly bigger than you might have at home, but otherwise they should be grand.
Okay.
So you can buy your mulled wine if you want to in bottles, something like this. Obviously it's a red wine bottle, but it's so easy to make, I can't understand why people wouldn't do it themselves. So just 1 litre of your cranberry juice, 1 litre of your orange juice, and half a litre of your apple juice. Now if you think it's too sweet, obviously you can cut back on your apple juice. And
sorry, just on the wine, probably sounds like a stupid question, but is there any preference if somebody's going to an island, is there any particular one that they need to select, or will anything work, Tim?
I think anything's worked for me. I know that maybe if a bottle's been open and it's still open to the air, that's one that you would use.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But otherwise, it doesn't need to be a very expensive bottle. Okay. It's really the secret. So 2 sticks of cinnamon, crack those and pop them in.
Do you get them in the shops, Tim?
I did.
Where? Yeah. Where would you find it? In the vegetable?
So I had a container. They're selling them now in these little jars.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So obviously up to demand.
Excellent.
But, you don't usually get the full stick, but I was lucky to get the full stick.
Brilliant.
So I'll keep these for later.
Good to know.
So you can get fresh bay leaves if you're growing a bay leaf tree, or you can use your dried bay leaves. So again, we were trying to think about using all these spices and things in your cupboard at home, and usually bay leaves might be sitting at the back there wondering what's going to happen to them. So your fresh ones will be obviously stronger.
Okay.
So I'm going to put 2 dried bay leaves in, and I have ginger, and I have 2 slices of fresh ginger. Now you could put packet dried ginger in, but it'll make it even more cloudy.
Okay.
Okay, so, and the secret weapon is this star anise.
Oh yeah, okay. So they're hard got though, aren't they? I find them sometimes hard to get.
Something you need to look around for.
Yeah.
There's some cloves sneaking in there as well. The cloves are optional.
Right.
But
so just about 3 or 4 of each. Yeah.
Yeah, this small amount will give it a really nice background taste.
Okay.
So we'll pop those in.
Great. Okay, you make it look very simple.
If you wanted it sweeter, you could put honey in.
Right.
Okay, but I wouldn't.
How much? If somebody did want to make it sweeter.
It's all down to taste.
Okay, so just...
So you take your spoon and you just give it a stir when it comes to a simmer, and then let it cool just for about 5 minutes.
Right.
And you get the real taste, otherwise it'll be too hot for you to taste.
Okay.
But if you wanted it sweeter, you could add honey.
Okay.
And honey really should be added at around about body temperature, otherwise you're going to kill it.
Okay,
so again,
right.
use a cheap honey if it's just going to be a sweetener and a flavourer.
Yeah.
If you want it to actually do you some good, add it below your own body temperature, 37 degrees
Would
Celsius.
you apply that rule of thumb for not just mulled wine across the board?
Anything, yeah. So if you're putting it onto your porridge, you're probably killing it, which is a shame.
Interesting, okay. There's a tip for everyone.
So we'll just give that a stir. Now it looks rather cloudy now. We can leave that to come to a simmer, and thanks to the magic of television or video, we have one. We'll bring it over here.
Here's one we done earlier, huh?
So this is the colour it's going to go to once it's gone to a simmer. It's going to clear slightly, and if you smell that now, does that smell like a mulled wine?
Oh, definitely, yeah, but not strong. Some of them can be quite pungent, can't they?
That's because
quite mild.
I haven't added much of this at all.
Wine,
in fact, little.
Okay.
About half a cup of red wine went into it.
Yeah.
So obviously you can see this one's been tasted, this one hasn't been tasted.
Yeah, it's a big difference. And tell me this, or maybe it is there. Yeah, oh yes, the remnants are still there. I was just wondering, how did they evaporate or what happened?
So the last thing I'm going to put in is some fruit, because you want the fruit to end up in the glass that you're giving it to the person. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this up.
When you're doing your own dinner, Tim, what time do you start? I know in my own house we start the day before. What about yourself?
That's a good question. I wouldn't start it on the day.
Yeah.
So I am again concerned that, especially if you've got little children, you want to be around for that moment, and if you're in the kitchen trying to wrestle with a turkey, that's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
So my recommendation is, when we've worked through this and we get down to the turkey, is that we're going to cut the size of the turkey down.
Okay.
So it cooks a lot faster, and my recommendation is that you cook it the day before. Yeah,
and say something just when we're on the mulled wine, is that something that keeps for the next day?
The mulled wine can be used on Christmas Eve if you've got guests coming around.
And
it will keep for a number of days.
Okay.
Certainly 3 days without a problem. If you wanted to keep it longer, you would have to refrigerate it. But each time it comes to a simmer, you can sterilise it. It's basically sterilising itself when it comes to a simmer.
Okay, right. It's good to know. Because as you say, it just cuts out that stress in the morning, doesn't it?
Well, I think
Christmas Day is about enjoying it with family, not being stressed out in the kitchen.
I think if you've got the space, again, I'm going to use different techniques to cook some of the things that I'm doing, simply because I've only got 4 rings at home, and you can end up running out of them. And I've gone around to other people's houses and they've run out of all the rings. So we're going to use the microwave and different things to get through the work as quickly as possible.
Okay. So that's interesting there. I probably missed there. You were using just a little, you just took little parts out of the orange.
Yeah, it's a bar tool. And this is one that you can get in most shops.
Right.
So it's just a little bar tool.
Right.
And it takes off the edge of the orange. And again, it looks a little nicer when it goes into the glass. It looks a little more perhaps professional.
And what's other, is it just, what function, just for fruit and creating that line, or is there other functions for that little tool?
Yeah, it'll go, well, you can use the zest if you wanted to in different items that you make, if you wanted to add it in, but it looks a little nicer than just a piece of orange.
Yeah, it definitely does, yeah.
So we'll slide that in and leave that to cook away.
Looks fantastic, Tim.
So I've got a few items here. I've got fresh cranberries that I would use for the cranberry sauce.
Okay.
And again, very simply, if you took a pot, put the cranberries in, don't chop up the orange, just leave that sitting in the pot.
Yeah.
And top it up. You top it up with orange juice or mulled wine or water. If you add water, then you're going to need sugar.
Okay.
All right. And it only takes a few minutes to come to a simmer.
So, and sorry, just so, do you totally cover the cranberries, or is it just levelled off? How much water slash or
I'll do it now.
Juice? Okay, you're doing it great, okay. As I say, I definitely need this to be dummy proof. So no jars in your house, Tim?
Try not to.
No, I know, I get
it.
it.
As clean as possible.
It looks fantastic.
So, if these are your cranberries,
Yeah.
as they arrive. Obviously pick out anything that isn't looking great. We'll take that one away because it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
But the rest have been rinsed.
Pre-washed, yeah.
Yep. And this goes in as is.
Okay.
All right.
What does the orange do for it? For anybody, I'd say that's unusual for people at
orange
home.
is going to give out a nice flavour. It's going to come off the outside. The oil is
So
going
the
to get into
lime
it.
is needed to kind of evaporate out the juices.
A lot of the flavour is coming out of the skin.
Wow, okay.
And you can squeeze in the orange juice, but honestly, you'll get far more flavour out of this just sitting in there.
Great. Okay, good to know, yeah.
So if I was at home and we had some mulled wine left, I would literally put mulled wine in here. Okay, so it's a way of using things up all the time.
Yeah.
I've got some orange juice here. I think I have. No, I actually will use mulled wine. So you said how much?
Yeah, this is
just
what I want
enough to cover it.
Okay. And you said not for long, but what's not for long in your world?
Well, you'll see it breaking down very quickly, so if we just leave that on low and leave it sitting there.
Okay, we'll see it.
We'll just leave that on a medium heat.
Great, okay.
And I will leave a wooden spoon or a spoon next to it. And it'll break down to this. This is what it's going to come down to. So again, you can buy in your cranberry sauce.
Yeah, you make it look so simple though. So literally, when this is ready, how many minutes do you think? 10, 15 minutes?
Depends on how high your gas is, but obviously bring it to a simmer and it will start to break down all by itself.
Okay.
This hasn't gone through a blender. This is just this that you see here.
And it just breaks down like that.
This was done yesterday. Simmered down and it goes, it sets up a bit. I've got a spoon.
And again, Tim, how long, when it's freshly made, how long do you think it lasts for people? You know, those that maybe have a box and a meal on St. Stephen's Day and New Year's Day. How long would the cranberry last?
Well, I would keep this in the fridge.
Even
though it does have the citrus in it, it is going to keep very well. It's got a lot of sugar in because of the mulled wine. So that will obviously deter bacteria growth, and it will stay in the fridge very well.
Okay,
if
so
you put it into a jar and sealed
Christmas
it down,
period out of it.
If you put it into a jar when it's hot and sealed it down, it would obviously last an awful lot longer.
Okay.
But we're just making it the day before Christmas, and it will last 7 days in the fridge without a bother.
Oh, they're the kind of things you might as well get out of the way when you can the day before.
So the reason it's slightly cloudy is because it doesn't have as much sugar in as the one you'd buy in the shop.
Right.
The more sugar you add, the cloudier it's going to get.
Okay.
Okay? So you can see this starting to,
starting to
clear up a wee bit. And we'll just leave that one just to tick over. Now, I'm going to move on to the stuffing.
Okay.
So, anything there.
Stuffing can be make or break in the dinner, can't it?
Well, I like to think it is important to get the stuffing right.
Yeah.
So I have diced onions. What did I do with those? Oh, here they are. Sorry, going blind. So in a plastic bowl, because I'm going to use the microwave.
Okay.
Okay. So I've cut up my onions already.
Yeah.
In the bowl.
Them,
There's 450 grams of onions in there.
Okay.
It has to be a plastic bowl because it is going to go in the microwave. You could do it on the stove, but it would take a lot longer and you will end up smelling of onions. Okay? So although the smell will come out of the microwave, it won't get all over you, especially if you've got other things to do.
Yeah.
So in here, 200 grams of butter and 450 grams of breadcrumbs. It sounds like a lot of butter.
Onions, you mean? 450 onions?
Sorry, onions.
And butter.
450, butter, 200.
Great, excellent. Right, I can't get over this. You're making it look very simple.
So high and 4 minutes.
High, 4 minutes, okay.
And that's a domestic microwave, so I think we're around about 800 watt. Yeah, it's an 800 watt microwave. It's on high, 4 minutes. Now, I don't take it out after 4 minutes. I'm going to leave it in there for about another minute and then put it on to 2 minutes. And what I'm looking for is the onions to be utterly translucent. Okay. So when they're translucent, I can then add in, I have 400 grams of breadcrumbs. So here's a saving. If you go to the shops and buy your breadcrumbs like this in a packet, it will be the same price as a loaf.
I know I've heard that life's too short to be kind of,
If you're very busy, then do that.
Yeah.
But if you have a blender and you have the crusts and everything else at home, take your crusts off, all the loaves, go through the bread bin, take all the crusts off. Yeah. You know, if we go back in time, that's really what we were doing before. Yeah. So if you have the time, this is just made from offcuts. Okay. Crusts, off the bread, the heel off the bread, all of that's been used. There's some brown bread in there as well. It doesn't even look like it, but there's brown bread comes in as well.
And sorry, what did it take to make that? Did you tell me a loaf of bread there? No.
No, this is just literally, I think 4 heels and some crusts.
So not a lot. We're not talking a lot.
But I went through the bread bin and I cleared it out.
Wow. Okay.
So again, you've got rid of all the old bread that's going to go blue if you don't watch it.
Yeah.
And it saves you ending up with this. You don't need that. So again, with the magic of television or video, obviously this is a lot less now, but you can see this is how your stuffing is going to turn out.
Right.
Because we're going to add to that, we're going to add in our sausage meat. We're going to add in our dried sage, not fresh.
Dried
so again,
sage,
you can pretty much get that anywhere. All right. So dried sage. There is about 2 dessert spoons of sage dried in there, and I find if you put fresh in, you're going to need some sugar because it's bitter.
Okay.
Whereas I don't get the bitterness from the dry.
Okay, it's from the dried sage.
Okay, so I've got 20 grams of sugar just in case.
If we had to use, okay.
And the secret weapon is 1 egg.
Right.
Okay.
What does the egg do?
The egg is going to bind everything together because I'm going to put this through, I'm going to stuff it into one of the legs, or rather 2 of the legs.
Okay.
Okay, so the legs and thighs are going to be stuffed.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're also going to use this, this for people to consume it as much to kind of for the turkey, to flavour the turkey, but people can use it also.
Well, if I just show you this, you can, here's what I would do with it.
Oh wow, okay, now you're starting to look now you're starting to look like a chef, Tim.
Okay,
wow.
so this is simply this, rolled up.
Right, with what though? What's the batter around the, just breadcrumbs?
Just breadcrumbs, so more breadcrumbs to use up.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So the secret is we have 3 bowls. 1 contains plain flour, 1 contains beaten egg, and 1 contains breadcrumbs.
Okay.
Okay, they're not dried. These are just breadcrumbs out of your RoboCoupe or whatever machine you have at home to processor to break it down.
Okay.
And then you feed these through and then pop them into, well, if you have a deep fat fryer or an air fryer, and then all these have to do is go into the oven.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to get them too big. The secret is if you get them too big, it's going to take a while to heat up.
Okay.
All right.
So when they come out, because actually just when we were talking about the air fryer at work, it's become such a household appliance and it'll probably be under people's trees. When they come out of the air fryer, are they cooked, Tim, or is the oven finishing them off?
I would use the oven to finish them off. The air fryer is going to give them that golden finish on the outside.
How many minutes in the air fryer?
Depends on the air fryer, to be honest, but I would be looking at around about 10 minutes in an air fryer.
And then how long in the oven?
Around about 5 minutes. Again, it depends on the temperature. So what I'm going to get to later on is the turkey will be in the oven on a tray, at the very end, in the oven on a tray. While you're eating your starter, it is then heating up. Okay. So the issue is plating up. That takes a lot of time. Again, it gets rather stressful. If your kitchen's very small, it's a problem. So you want to be able to compact this down and make it as easy and as stressless as possible. So if you don't want to do that, you can do an alternative over here. So I just have some softened butter.
Okay.
So again, it's not melted utterly.
Okay. How did you soften that? In the microwave too?
Just in the microwave.
Okay.
But I don't want it to separate into fat.
I see that, Jay,
So now I realise I am going to be using a reasonable amount of butter, but some things I think it would be a disappointment to cut back on the butter and lose the taste.
I can see now what's happening to your cranberry, Tim. It's starting to...
It's just breaking down by itself.
I can see that, yeah.
So again, you can see once this has cooled down, it's very easy to roll into a nice little ball, and that's where you get that neat little shape.
So basically, just again for the viewers at home that are like me and need everything explained, so we're in the microwave, we've done the 4 minutes with the butter and the onions, we're leaving for a minute, we're putting it back into the microwave for another minute or so, is that right?
Yep.
We take it out and add the breadcrumbs.
Leave it for a minute.
Leave it
so
for a
that's
minute.
about a minute, you think?
Yeah. I'd say about 40 seconds or so anyway at this point.
So I'm not going to remove the cling film, but
oh yeah, I can still see
they're not quite clear.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Okay, it's super hot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put it back in for another 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Just to be absolutely sure that our onions are nicely cooked out.
Okay.
Another concern as well is people put onions into robo-coops and food processors. I don't know if you're one of those, but if you do that, your onion's going to be bitter.
Okay.
Because it smashes it, whereas the knife doesn't.
Okay.
And the knife is a whole other issue.
Okay.
As to whether you've got some decent knives.
Okay.
So this is your alternative to rolling into the little balls.
Yeah.
So this is raw.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
the only difference in the balls is that the raw stuffing and the egg.
These are actually all cooked now.
Yeah. So the balls, you're saying that there's 3 different bowls.
3 different bowls.
Yeah. Bowl number 1 has egg in it.
Bowl number 1 is flour.
Has
plain
flour. Okay. Bowl number 2 has.
Bowl number 2 is beaten egg.
Beaten egg. And bowl number 3
has your breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs.
So you literally line your bowls up,
and
it's something if you do have kids at a reasonable age, you can bring them in and they'll have a bit of fun doing it.
Yeah.
So the sausage meat's rolled into a ball.
Yeah.
It's then dropped into each of these.
The tray.
If it is children, perhaps put the sausage meat that's rolled into a ball in the freezer, and that'll make it a little harder as it passes through, because it will soften if they hold on to it for a while.
Yeah, no, I think that's
not what you want.
I'm definitely going to try them. Tim, definitely, you've given me inspiration on that front.
So we've now got this into a sort of a sausage shape.
How long? What do you look for?
A rolling pin.
A rolling pin.
Try it.
Here we go. Or no, well, I don't know. Is that all right?
That's fine. So if you have a rolling pin, just push it against the tin foil, not too hard, and it will just ensure it gets a nice shape. Again, you make things too big, it's hard for them to heat up.
To cook.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. And Tim, again, stuffing's a mainstream item. Can you give tips to people at home watching here today? How long really typically should stuffing go into the oven, at what temperature?
Well, it's all about weight and temperature. So our oven today is set to 175. Okay. And if we look at the board for a second, I didn't want to use the board, but we've got a board. So if we look at the turkeys, okay, so we've got, if you work in kilograms or you work in pounds, my head unfortunately works in pounds, old money. So for every pound, you cook something for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So if this weighs a pound, it goes in the oven for 20 minutes. That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah, my granny used to use that, yeah.
It goes into a hot oven, okay? So a hot oven for a chef is usually anything from 180 up to 195. That's getting exceptionally hot, okay? So this will go in. It'll go in with our turkey later on. It will cook with all the rest. It doesn't matter if it overheats a little bit, it still manages with the egg to hold itself all together. So we're going to get to a point where we can slice this. So you don't have to do these.
Yeah.
This is an alternative, so we'll put this in the fridge until later on.
Yeah. You do make this look very easy, Tim, though.
Well, I haven't got to the turkey yet.
Yeah, true.
So just watch yourself. Watch yourself when it opens, because they are pretty hot.
I would have just, to be honest, I would have just been doing it in a pot, so that's great to know about the microwave.
It gets into all your clothes. It's a bit like, almost like cigarettes, when we used to have cigarettes on the scene.
It's so clean though, it's, you know, and it's one less ring that you don't need to use. That's nearly done there now, isn't it?
So this is all breaking down. So when I see the liquid disappearing a wee bit more, and again, this isn't an exact science. Culinary arts is an art, so every now and again you've just got to check it. So if I thought it was bitter or not sweet enough, I've got 20 grams of sugar I could add into it. Okay. So you wait for it to cool down. When you think you've got the consistency right, you can add in a little bit of sugar.
Taste it now.
That will make it nice and shiny. If that's what you want. Some people add butter.
It's personal preference.
Some people add butter, and again, I've used butter on other things. I'm not going to put it into my cranberry sauce.
Why do people? What's the logic for butter in it? For other people, I know you don't do it.
Some recipes they ask for butter, and it usually takes away the foam as well. You can see foam sitting on the top. And fat is a great way of clearing the foam. So it could be used. So I'm going to take that spoon.
And I can see the mulled wine's really starting to kind of cook up now, Storm.
Well, it kind of fills the house.
With a lovely aroma.
You don't need to buy the air freshener.
I know, there's a lovely aroma of it.
So this is just me finishing the stuffing that we were just rolling up there.
Right.
So add in the breadcrumbs bit by bit.
Yeah. And is this something people could, you know, no more than you have it all rolled up very neatly, is that something people could do if, you know, this is just me, working mum with 4 kids, just trying to save time. Could you freeze it, Tim?
Yes.
And would it taste as good? You know, that fear of, I want my Christmas dinner to be the nicest dinner of the year. Would it taste as good? Would the flavour still be there?
It depends on how good you are at tasting the food. It will never be as it was when it was fresh. So that's something for you to maybe decide. If there was some left over, you could freeze it and decide. I know my wife usually prefers if there's some left over that it's used on the Boxing Day or something.
Yeah.
But you can use it in sandwiches and everything else.
Yeah, that's it. The good old sandwiches. So sausage meat too. So have you a rule of thumb on how much sausage meat gets added to this particular recipe? Just a full...
This is one... see,
that's
1
sage
kilogram.
there that you're after adding, isn't it? You told me that dried sage.
Yeah, 1 pound
1
exactly.
pound, okay. And I'm desperate for... I'm one of these people that puts on potatoes and there's about... I have to throw out about 4 potatoes at the end, but I can never measure right. So this particular recipe, would it suit a family of 6, 8, 10? How many does it serve?
Well, we have 12 for Christmas, and this will easily cover the 12, but there won't be that much left over.
Right.
Okay.
So this, you use this exact ingredients for 12 people.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So this is the point now where I've added everything but the egg. And again, you wouldn't taste it raw, but you could cook a little bit, and if you thought it was bitter, but from experience, using the dried sage, it's never really turned out that bitter at all.
Okay.
Now there is a little hack that I would recommend, is if you have any hot dog mustard.
Okay.
Now this came from one of the best Michelin star chefs on the planet.
Right.
Okay. He was putting hot dog mustard into his, what do you call them, Scotch eggs.
Okay.
And I thought, no, you wouldn't, surely you wouldn't do that. But I tasted it, and I have to say, it is absolutely amazing.
So how much have you, how do you do it?
I would put a good table, I do it, yep.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the one thing
and hot dog mustard, it's not Coleman's obviously. What's hot dog mustard?
Well, there's one on the market, I think it's called French cheese, it's in a yellow packet.
Right.
We might be able to get it later, it is in the stores, because I've had it ordered in, but I forgot to bring it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really does add a really nice background taste.
And you add a good lot, like would you talk about a tablespoon? How much?
Tablespoon goes in.
A good tablespoon. Yeah. You sound like you're embarrassed to mention that. Listen, all these tips for people at home are good.
Well, I can't say you probably use it in a professional kitchen, but certainly...
But this is what this is about.
This is a bit more fun, and again, you want things to taste ever so slightly... not ever so slightly, but definitely a nicer product to eat, and this makes a difference. And if it is on the shelf, it is available, well, why don't you use it? But my other issue is, if it's in the cupboard, and you've only used it for those hot dogs, and you haven't used it since, then this is a great way of using it up.
In fairness, you do sound very much like you're great at using up wastage.
Well, I don't like throwing things away, so I am conscious of how to use things up. So we're always trying to work out why the history of culinary is where it is. I mean, we always, I was trying to show the chefs the other day, so if you end up with your pane and you've got your flour and your egg and your breadcrumbs, well, do you think it was a really big leap for them to mix the egg that's left over with the flour and make a batter? So that's obviously how I believe. You didn't wake up in the morning, Jamie Oliver wouldn't have woken up in the morning and said, I'm going to make a batter. There would have been something left over and he would have worked it through his kitchen. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to function as a business.
That's really starting to blend together now. I totally get it,
So you can see how thick it gets. So I'm going to finish working on that because you've seen the stuffing now. You know what it's going to turn into.
Oh, you've given me great inspiration there, Tim.
So how difficult was that?
Fair. You made it look very simple. Now I'll tell you in a week's time.
A good spoon and a plastic bowl. A good spoon, a plastic bowl. Just to recap, the onions were diced, 450 grams. There was 200 grams of butter, decent covering in the microwave. It's got to be sealed.
With
And it doesn't
used
matter
cling
if
film.
you walk away, if the phone rings, if the doorbell goes,
Yeah,
if the DPD man comes with that thing you've been waiting for, then this will be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but all you're trying to do is get those onions nicely cooked out, and you could see they were see-through. That's the key.
Yeah, okay.
So that's the little hook we're looking for.
Okay.
And then the breadcrumbs, again, we were trying to use up breadcrumbs that we had left over.
Great, and then the sausage meat and sage.
Or bread that we had left over, yeah. Sausage, sage could be in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Now, I have this sitting here.
Oh yeah, the sea salt.
One of the ladies that's helped us with a great deal in our seafood module is Pranny Rattigan from Sligo. She has her own seaweed kitchen company.
Right.
And I've been putting in a tablespoonful of this.
Into your stuffing.
It makes quite a difference.
Okay. What sea salt as a chef, it's the right way to go, is it, Tim?
I would use sea salt over mine salt, yeah.
Okay. Is that salt available in Donegal? Can you buy it, or is it only in Sligo?
You can get it online from Pranny's Seaweed Kitchen.
Right.
I don't think she has an outlet, but you can get it online. We've had it before for various projects we've done.
Great.
We actually made a baked cheesecake yesterday, and we put some seaweed into it.
Oh really? Really, like proper seaweed?
This dried seaweed.
Okay.
It's a blend of Irish seaweeds.
Oh, sorry, so it's seaweed, it's not sea salt.
No, no.
Oh, I misinterpreted you there. Seaweed, right. So seaweed into the stuffing.
Seaweed is incredibly good to get into your diet.
Sorry, I
but
thought it was sea
I'm not
salt.
saying you have to put it in to a point where, no, the sausage meat will be salty enough.
That's okay, right.
So I've put it into cheesecake. So
Cheesecake, my God.
I've put it into ice cream.
And what does it add? Cheesecake, what would, is it just
You'd be
for
surprised
goodness,
how much a little bit of salt, just a little background salt, will help an item.
Okay. Well, I know they always talk about the benefits of seaweed, but...
Okay, so that's our stuffing made.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that to one side now. So you can make that into the little balls.
Yeah.
You can let it cool slightly, you can pop it into the fridge, you don't have to finish it all today.
Okay.
It's perfectly okay to stand. Just make sure it's covered at the bottom of your fridge. Anything raw should be kept at the bottom of your fridge.
And again, just for the benefit of the listeners at home, is it better to leave it stand for a period and then make into the balls, or is it much of a muchness?
If you're making it and you're careful, that's stiff enough now to roll into the little balls, and then pop them on a tray and put them in the fridge. Okay. It's the process of going through the flour, egg and breadcrumbs that you can sort of mess them up a wee bit. Let's have a quick look at our mulled wine.
It's foaming up there.
Is this still on? Oh,
yeah, it is, yeah. It's really foaming up there. When do you know it's ready, though?
You can take
I know
all that
the
foam
colour
off.
there is very red. Just take it away.
Has this come to a simmer, or did we turn it down? I can't remember now. I'll take the foam away. So this is where a tiny bit of butter as well will clear that foam once you've taken the majority off.
Okay.
I know we wouldn't want to think that we've put butter in, and again, I would try not do it, but they are little tricks that you can do. So now this is non-alcoholic, and if we add in
your wine,
100 ml of wine, it suddenly becomes slightly alcoholic, but you are going to burn a lot of this off.
Yeah.
And again, a cheap wine, maybe one that's already open.
So your cue for adding the wine, was it kind of bubbling, foaming up?
Yep.
Or do you need that cue?
No, I'm looking to see that we've brought it to a nice simmer.
Okay.
And that we're ready to
go. Yeah, it's starting. I can see it now. Now that you've taken off the foam, I can see the colour starting to form in it. Cranberry's nearly done, is it?
It's reduced right down with it on the jet. It's starting to catch, so that's it. All you have to do now is put that into a pot.
Okay.
So,
which you've done earlier anyway, but
we'll leave that cool down.
Okay.
So this just comes to a simmer again, and that's ready to use.
Great.
So we'll put this out the way. Okay, I have a stock pot on, and I'll get to that in a second.
That's a real, would you find, Tim, it varies from household to household? I know the Brussels sprouts are the real Christmas must-haves, but not everybody likes them. Do you find, people use different things on Christmas Day?
Oh, I think Brussels sprouts are a default, aren't they? So
Yeah.
I've got some vegetables here that I would associate very much with Christmas. So carrots, parsnips, Brussels sprouts. And again, the Brussels sprouts, they're actually hugely beneficial to us. And again, if you overcook them, they're not going to be very pleasant.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to point out here was all the vegetable trimmings. So there's a bit of celery in here. There's some carrot, which I cut in a certain way. So there's a certain type of cut. Now you wouldn't have thought the cut would make a huge difference to the taste, but here's the carrots cut. Now I realise these are slightly big. But I would have all these cooked and cooled on Christmas Eve, definitely.
Right, okay.
And again, you can use the microwave to heat them, or if you don't like the microwave, as some people don't, put a pan of hot water, bring it to a simmer, small amount of salt, and then have a frying pan ready, and lift your vegetables out, lift all of these out, all mixed up, carrots and sprouts, parsnips if you wanted, into the frying pan, shake them around, and you can put the bacon rolls in if you want to, and that'll get them a nice pan taste. But personally, if there's a lot of people, I'd rather have these in bowls for family service to go out to the table, so into the microwave. As long as steam is rising from it, it's going to be fine.
And
but this is the cut.
And the cut, okay, let's look at this. Right, okay. And why is this having a difference?
Well, I didn't think it would make
zigzags.
I didn't think it would make a huge difference, but it sort of makes them about the same size as the sprouts.
Right.
Otherwise, you're ending up battening these things or slicing them.
And that's for when they're cooking.
That's the cut, and they're about the same size. My sprouts are all cut in half.
Half, okay.
None of this crisscross business.
And how do you add flavour? So like carrots, I'm usually one of these people that loves a little bit of butter. How do you add a little bit of flavour to your veg on Christmas Day?
You could cook the carrots in orange juice, you could cook them in butter, and you could cook them in a small amount of sugar. I wouldn't.
You don't?
I would just...
You're just a boil.
Bring them up to a nice simmer, and don't cook them any further than when they're nice and tender. So the knife goes through really easily. The knife should go through, and they should be able to cut not so hard, or you shouldn't be able to squash them.
Okay. And is it the same rule with Brussels sprouts?
Same thing. You want to keep them nice and al
same
dente is the bite.
Yeah.
So again, you can just feel they're nice and firm compared to something that's overcooked. And if it's overcooked, you're going to lose the colour as well. So flavoured is broken down very, very quickly.
Sorry, I'd feel that and be a wee bit worried that it's not cooked.
But if you put that in the microwave,
a microwave, okay. Right.
the microwave's going to finish cooking it as well.
Okay.
And that's something I've noticed with the students is when they're cooking the vegetables and then they cool them, they leave them in the water. And they leave them in for half an hour.
Yeah.
So all the nutrient content, the reason we're eating the food in the first place, is lost in all of that
so
water.
Take it out of the water straight away.
As soon as it's cooled down, you need to put it into a bowl or something like this, and get it ready and put away in the fridge.
Yeah,
as soon as it's cooled down. Don't put anything hot in the fridge.
I love what you're saying there, but the day before, that's great. Like we would always cut and prep it, but the cooking on the day, but that's even better. So, you just sometimes assume you have to do these things.
Well, it's an awful lot. Some people, I've noticed, will have the carrots on, the sprouts on, the potatoes on, the turkey's in the oven, and they're trying to balance everything like an orchestra.
Yeah, you're right.
And that must be awfully stressful, especially when you're cooking a turkey that you don't, or something that size that you don't normally cook.
Yeah.
So again, you've got that uncertainty as to whether it's cooked. Not everybody has a probe to know whether it's reached 75 degrees in the centre.
Yeah.
So I'm just cutting these up because it's important to show you where the stock comes from.
Okay.
So these would go in. And this is our stock pot. So in here, if you want to have a look in there, you can see the turkey carcass is in there.
Okay.
All the bones from the legs and all the root vegetables.
Okay.
And
water,
in goes a bay leaf. And I'm going to finish off with some cold water.
Okay.
And that needs to come to a simmer. Now this needs to sit on the stove for about 3 hours.
Okay.
But never overboil.
Okay,
so it just
needs
to simmer. And there's a huge difference. I didn't know when I was at college the difference. I thought if I boiled the stock, it would reduce down and the flavour would be fantastic. But you boil a stock and you introduce air, it goes cloudy, and in some cases that's very bad. All we need to do is just leave that simmer away. Someone told me years ago, a bit like tea. And you do get way more flavour.
Yeah. And what uses do you make of the stock? Gravy, I'm presuming. What do you use this stock? You can buy a lot of it there, but maybe.
So we have another pot with it done, so I'm going to move these out the way.
That's great. Pity it wasn't just like this on Christmas Day where you had.
Imagine the space.
Yeah.
So here we have.
Okay, right.
Our stock pot.
Yeah. So this was after about 3 hours.
So this is 3 hours simmered. I'm not sure if you can see that, but you can also see this has been in the fridge, and I deliberately put it in the fridge like this so that you could see it's a jelly. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it is. So that was after 3 hours of simmering.
So 3 hours. So this is the giblets. This is the bones.
Yeah.
This is the carcass.
Is there any test for people at home as to know when this is done?
Well, usually when it's reduced down by half. So our little tip is we always top it up with water, so it's just about covering the meat up to the rivets on your pot, so it doesn't overboil.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to. When it comes to a simmer, it will boil for a second.
Yeah.
Or maybe 5 minutes, but you want to turn it down, let it tick over, and you'll notice it will drop down. The levels will drop down.
So that would have been kind of at that point at some stage. It's gone down quite.
So yesterday.
Yeah.
This pot looked exactly like that.
Okay, it's
3 hours.
It's a good
3 hours later.
More than an inch, yeah.
It's gone. Right, it's, I would say, probably half. It's reduced down by half. When you take out all those bones and things. Now, unfortunately, this is not what you do. I mean, it is what you do in the sense that you want to get it to a jelly stage, but you would strain it straight away.
Yeah. Okay.
I've now got a load of bones in a big pot of jelly, but it was important that you see what happens to the stock pot.
Absolutely.
And once you get to this stage, put a tray across the top, and put another bowl on the floor, and as close to the floor as possible, tip it out so that all the bones remain in the pot. So a bit like this, and then tip it into another pot, and then all that debris, if you are composting, or it goes in the bin.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe bones aren't a good idea to put outside. So that's the stock. That's the magic of that done.
Yeah.
So this, in 3 hours, will look like that. And then from that, you then end up with this. Okay. And
how that's more just because it's set. That looks a wee bit more liquidy.
I've reduced that down.
Right.
And I've just taken it all out of the pot because we did 3 lots of stocks.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I've added a little bit of onion and butter and a bit of flour. So this is ever so slightly thick.
Okay.
Thicker.
And you obviously mix them and put them into your bottle.
So this is what I would need now to put over the turkey at the end.
Oh,
so all of that ends up being just that. You don't get a lot.
No, you don't.
And even when you're reheating this, obviously it's going to reduce down.
So this is something presumably the day before also.
Yes, this is why I think this method is probably the best way to go. Because if you tried to do this on Christmas Day, it would be...
that would kind of kill me, to be honest.
It'd be very, very stressful.
Dear God, the kids wouldn't get a look in.
So the other accompaniments.
The good old cocktail sausages, I was laughing. I thought that was just a tradition in our house. It's lovely to see. So
again, they come as is from the shop.
Okay.
And you just empty them onto a tray. I've buttered the tray. It sounds like I've got sponsored by butter. But that's all you need onto the tray. They won't stick. Some people put paper down. I don't think you need it. Now you can wrap the cocktail sausages with the bacon if you wanted to, and you'll get
and what are you using the bacon
in blankets. For? The bacon goes on the plate as well.
Okay.
So again, it depends on. You said at the beginning, you know, what did you do?
Yeah.
Well, my memory of Christmas is this.
Right.
So the bacon rolls, the chipolata sausages, the roast potatoes, the boiled potatoes, the sprouts, the stuffing balls. All of this is what I remember.
Is this bacon replacing your ham?
I guess it is. Yeah. Now the students were very upset when I said that.
Yeah.
So they said, "Can you do a ham?" So here is a ham, but a very small one.
Okay.
Okay. So we got a ham fillet, and it was actually exactly a kg. So we cooked it for 45 minutes.
Boiled it?
Per kg.
How did you cook it?
Boiled it? Boiled it, and then we peeled off the outer skin, the rind, and then we scored it, as you can see, and then we put brown sugar over the top, and we put some cloves in it.
Okay.
So I will maybe use some of that later on.
Yeah.
But I think traditionally for me it would have been ham on Boxing Day, or ham on the 26th.
That's what I was just saying. Everybody has their own little traditions on Christmas Day, and that's what makes it so special, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah. I read somewhere that apparently if you've cooked Christmas dinner, you've truly become an adult.
Oh God.
I don't know. Maybe we'll all stop now. So, the turkey. So this is a medium turkey. This is, according to the packet, this is to feed 11 people, 7 to 11 people, I think, I seem to recall. We'll leave that there. So this is 4, I think it was 4.4. I've forgotten the label now, hang on. Yep, 4.4. So this is how it broke down. If you're working in kilograms, it's 45 minutes per kilogram. And this would be on for 3 hours, 35 minutes. Because you add an extra 20 minutes onto your overall time.
For what? For afterwards, leaving it sit?
So once you've worked out your weight and your kg to your 45 minutes or your pounds to your 20 minutes, whatever that time length is, whether it's 3 hours 10 minutes or 3 hours 5 minutes, you then always add 20 minutes onto that time in the oven. Okay? So that's the rule. So this would be in for 3 hours and 35 minutes. But this is what I'm going to suggest would be the option.
Right.
So you're going to need a good knife or you're going to need a very good butcher. Either way.
Okay.
So I don't cut through any bones, just joints.
Okay.
So these come off and these go into the stock pot.
Yeah, earlier, yeah.
If you had the time, you could cut them down. So there's a pocket here and a pocket here. The rule for boning is just pull the item you want to bone or remove away, cut down that pocket, and then turn it over and cut along the structure.
Wow.
Okay, so that's your leg and thigh off.
And why are you doing this to reduce time in the oven?
Reduces time. It reduces the cooking time of this down to the weight of one breast.
Okay.
All will be revealed.
Okay. Just have patience, Nicola.
Now you can spend a little more time boning it if you wanted to, but I'm going to be as quick as I can. So that's the 2 legs off. All of this
comes out.
Would go into
the stock
pot. So there's a bag in here. If you wanted to, and you were passionate, you could put all of this into your stock. This is the giblets, the liver, etc. So
did you do that?
I didn't. I just the bags I saved, and you could put those into your stuffing if you wanted to. So look, down the centre line.
Yeah.
Just ever so slightly to the side by about 3 mil. You bring your knife down, and again you can ask your butcher to do this because you might not have some nice knives.
Yeah. What are you asking the butcher to do?
Remove the breasts and legs. And can you bone?
Keep everything.
Bone the legs.
Bone the legs.
So there's.
Now, people watching at home, Tim, it would be the sentimentality of the turkey going into the oven. You don't get that, obviously.
You're not going to get that.
But
what about the safety?
Yeah.
And what about the fact that you can put this into the fridge and it will fit into the fridge?
Yeah, I know, I get you.
You'll actually, because you're cutting it cold, you'll find that it's easier to cut into portions and then reheat. It's an awful lot safer.
Do you do this, Tim?
Yes.
You do?
Because I want to know.
It's good for you, it's good for me.
I want to know it's all done and out of the way, and we're not going to have any issues later on of something that isn't quite
cooked. And have you any tips, you know, just poultry, just washing, and any tips for viewers at home on that?
I wouldn't wash it in the sink, because all you're doing is possibly spreading the pathogenic bacteria that's on that turkey or on that poultry everywhere else. And I think the recommendation, although it was originally to wash it in the sink, I think that's changed now, and they're advising preferably not to wash it.
At all? No. Okay. Right. I have to say, but there's...
Well, I'm just concerned as to you're washing this in the sink, and again, you have limited sinks in the kitchen at home. And then what if you're washing an apple, or what if you're washing a lettuce?
Yeah.
That would be a concern. So that's how the 2 breasts come off.
Yeah. The
2 legs come off. All of the bits, the giblets and everything else can go into your stock pot.
Yeah.
So that's how we got to this.
Yeah, at the end, yeah.
Okay. And now I'm going to put this to one side. So there's the bags from the others. I put those to one side. They could have been chopped up you wouldn't put anything with blood into your stock pot. It will go cloudy.
Okay.
So you would have to wash those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But they're perfectly acceptable to be chopped up and put into your stuffing.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do that.
And
yeah.
what does it add? Does it add flavour to it?
I'm not convinced it adds an awful lot of flavour.
Okay.
It would bulk it out a bit more if you're short on sausage meat.
Okay.
So this is the leg. Once the bone that's in the centre of this is removed, take all of this out.
Yeah.
That goes into your stock pot.
Again.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we end up with.
So we're still back to 8 to 12 people with this, yeah?
Yep.
Or you've put your sauce or your stuffing.
Sausage meat's in there again.
So that's sausage meat or the stuffing?
That's the sausage meat.
Sausage
Sorry,
meat.
that's the stuffing.
Stuffing.
With the sausage meat in it.
Yeah.
So that folds up, and have we time to do those?
Yeah.
Yep. Wash my hands.
I can just imagine this is taking serious cooking time out of the mix.
Well, if we weigh one of these, it's only going to be in and around half a kilogram.
Okay.
So half a kilogram is going to be, well,
What,
half a kilogram is a pound,
Yeah.
pretty much. So that's 20 minutes.
Yeah, geez.
20 minutes to cook your entire turkey.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
So I'll accelerate through this while you can ask me some questions.
Yeah. And I know this, so basically then you would serve the people the turkey with the stuffing inside it. That's the service of this. You know the way you've it packed here?
There is some stuffing inside it, but it also holds the leg together.
Okay, so it kind of gives it that.
So you'll see this starting to make sense now.
So
if you had sea salt now,
okay,
this is when I might use it.
Time to use it. What, you'd sprinkle it on the butter?
Yep. You'll see why in a second.
How long does it take you to do your Christmas dinner, Tim? Have you done and dusted in an hour or 2 hours? Or quicker?
Well, I tend to put the stereo on and enjoy the moment.
Yeah. It's good that you can enjoy it. I would just be freaking out in the kitchen.
My wife's probably wondering what we've forgotten or what we need to get or whatever. But I used to try and get it all in the oven and then go to, say, the midnight mass or something when they were on.
Lovely.
And then when I came back, it was all cooked, and I would nearly turn it off and leave it in the oven. But I thought, no, I'd prefer if it was in the fridge at night. So I got ahead on that one. So I just need my stuffing. So I wouldn't put it in a piping bag normally. This is just for handiness.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I know, because we've already done this for the demonstration, I know
Yeah.
exactly how much these things weigh.
Yeah.
So you're looking at about a pound there. So again, roll it up nice and tight.
So it was only in the 2 legs that you put the stuff in,
Yes.
not on the fillet,
No, you don't need it on the fillet.
Okay.
The fillet will hold together just fine.
right? I see the way you keep making things really packed, Tim.
I want to keep it together so when I slice it, it's
Yeah.
going to be a nice tight
It's for presentation.
piece. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to end up with little piles of food on the tray.
Yeah.
So I know how many people I've got to feed.
Yeah.
And essentially, when this is all cooked, I can then slice these little piles. So 2 slices of white meat, 1 slice of brown meat, a stuffing slice, and then the chipolatas and the bacon rolls go on. Then some stock goes onto that, then tin foil and into the oven. Now 20 minutes on about 160. When you pull that off and you've had your starter in those 20 minutes, nice and relaxed,
Yeah.
pull the tin foil off the top of those little piles and a plume of steam should come up and you'll know that they're utterly ready. So this one. You just twist the ends
Yeah.
until it
It's
gets
like
nice
crackers.
and tight.
Yeah.
So that it's
Yeah.
reasonably tight.
That is, yeah. Yeah.
So I've left the skin on this. I didn't leave the skin on the breast, if you noticed.
But does butchers do that for you?
Well, you can pull the skin off. It will just come off like a glove.
Okay, that's all right. Butcher loves seeing me coming.
Yeah. But I think
As if he needs that hassle.
I think in some respects, well, I used to have a friend in Dunlow, and he said he was preparing turkeys all Christmas Eve. I said, "Are you looking forward to Christmas?" He said, "No."
No.
So obviously a lot of people do
ask
for it to be done.
It wouldn't be something I was aware of, but I am actually a bit of a fan here looking at it, I have to say.
Look, all of that turkey
yeah.
has gone down to that.
Yeah, I know, is that amazing? Now, Tim, you mentioned it would take 20 minutes. For the purpose of me and the viewers at home, because there's, I think, 4 kg here now, would that be fair to say?
There's 4 kg
You know,
of
how
meat.
do you work it? Do you treat these as individual parts, or are they as a whole trying to cook in the one oven? Might sound like a stupid question, but it's going on in my head.
So 580 sticks. That breast is slightly bigger.
Okay.
Okay. So we need to increase our cooking time ever so slightly. So instead of it being, so 586, so that's just over a pound. So we're probably looking at 30 minutes plus the 20 minutes.
Yeah, so 50 minutes in total, all of that in the oven.
So you deal with these as
individual
That's
items. What I was wondering.
Okay, so what you're going to end up with is all these little parcels, as long as they're not all touching, because as soon as they all become
Stacked.
like that, they are one.
One, okay.
So try and keep them separated out. We'll put our stuffing, if you remember, in the middle.
Why do you do that?
I don't know. This is something a bit weird. Okay, so it's just that they all cook all in the 50 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Very good. Do you cook you mentioned Christmas Eve Mass, do you cook your turkey the night before or the day off?
Well, I've got into the habit now of doing
it
on the 23rd.
Oh, do you?
And then, and having it in the fridge, cooked and cooled, so if there's any dramas.
So even you have dramas, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, what next now?
Okay, so we're going to plate it up as if it's already cooked.
Yeah. Gravy. Do you use gravy? You mentioned the stock.
Yeah.
You do use gravy.
So we're going to imagine that the stock had been on for 3 hours, cooled down.
Yeah.
We'd passed it into a container, and I'm going to heat up what we have over there.
Okay. So it's just the stock is your gravy?
Yes.
Yeah.
With a small amount of butter and flour.
Okay. Yeah. Do you need me to take over thing to you?
Not sure how we're going to cut this one out, but anyway.
Great. What do you need now? Do you need me to get anything?
I just need
You're right.
to take this out.
Okay.
On a yellow board.
And
So that was the mustard
Okay, this.
I was on about.
So this is the mustard, yeah? This is the mustard
So
that you
that
were
was the
saying.
mustard.
A teaspoon into
A tablespoon.
A tablespoon, sorry, into your stuffing.
So if I had
French's classic yellow mustard.
this, I would then add. Oh, it's sealed. Well. Yeah.
I have it. No.
So let's pretend it's Christmas Day morning.
Yeah. Good dollop. So you do the day off the mustard. Is that what I'm hearing? You have to do it the day off because you said Christmas morning. Say if you're leaving that sit overnight.
No, I would have used this in the turkey, remember?
Okay.
It's already in the oven.
Okay.
So on Christmas Day we're facing the little parcels. So here we are back with our little parcels.
Yeah.
This was just out to show you that I would put that mustard in and how much I would put
getcha.
in. So I don't want to confuse anybody.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is what your parcels break down to. So I took the tin foil off 2 of them, and in my experience, I still get away with only using 2, if not 3 parcels, and 1 ends up in the fridge for sandwiches.
Right.
Which is still, it's nice that you've got something left over.
Yeah.
Not a carcass sitting on the side, open to everything. You've got these in the fridge at the right temperature.
Yeah.
So I think that's very, very important that we obviously serve our food at the right temperature. Let's get another cloth. Anne-Marie. See that. Thanks so much.
So that next day you put all of this into the microwave, the turkey as well. I know you don't do the turkey in the microwave, you put it back in the oven.
The microwave is only for maybe the vegetables, but you can arrange in bowls. It depends if you're doing a family service where the plates go out with the meat on and the sauce on. Okay?
Yeah.
If that was the case, then I would have those going in the microwave.
Okay.
Again, it depends on how big your kitchen is and how much space you have.
And how many people you've over, I suppose, too.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So not everybody has to be, obviously, a chef. But if I was taking my stock, I would add a small amount of butter into here, and then a small amount of plain flour when the butter is melted.
And sorry, Tim, but what does mean? What is a small amount of flour? How much?
Okay, 2 tablespoons of flour goes a long way.
Okay.
So in the kitchen we call it equal quantities of fat to flour.
And just plain cream flour?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no self-raising, otherwise it'll be fizzy.
Okay.
And that's not really the sauce quality we're looking for.
And does the flour just add a bit of volume or a bit of thickness?
So what will happen is, when you put your fat in and you melt it, it can be butter. For this exercise I would say butter, not oil. So you put your butter in, it's melted. You then add enough flour, so you don't actually have to weigh it, enough flour until you can't see the fat anymore, you can't see the butter anymore, it's all gone to look like sand, or at least that sandy colour. It's absorbed the fat, okay? And then you slowly add your warm stock to that, stirring all the time with a wooden spoon in a metal pot. Okay? You can do it in a blender if you want to. Now what we've then made, unfortunately we've made a sauce that can't go to somebody who is celiac perhaps, but remember we have stuffing in some of the items, so they can only have breast meat, and you can buy, there's plenty of convenience products now that you can just add hot water to, or the granules to hot water. Again, we're not trying to get everybody up to Michelin star in an hour. So I'm just going to leave that to simmer. I think we'll move the stock out of the way.
And would this, so you know you mentioned about a 12, would you need the full, or you've used half, would that be enough for 12?
Well, I'm not going to plate 12 today, it's just an example. I would use all of that for 12.
I was wondering that, I thought you would need.
And if I was short, again, I would add maybe a little bit of that mulled wine that I want to use up, because I don't really have mulled wine on Boxing Day, it's not really a thing. So if I had some left over, I would add a little bit in. And remember, this sauce, this gravy needs to be ever so slightly sweet, because sweet things really accompany the finished product.
Okay.
So I need my tray. So we don't want it to stick.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of butter. It doesn't end up everywhere, but just a little bit.
Okay.
If you're really bothered, you can wipe it out with a tissue and lift it off.
The time people have this can vary too. What time do you have your dinner at? We're normally around 3 o'clock.
I think we like to try and have it earlier, but it ends up being 3 or 4 o'clock. Yeah, especially if there's children, there's presents and everything else involved, so that can be time consuming. Mind you, they may have been opened at 5 o'clock in the morning.
So you're slicing these to go back into the oven, are you?
Yep, just to heat up.
Okay. I thought you were going to put them in whole.
No. Again, you want to save yourself all the time in the world.
God, they look fantastic, Tim.
So that you can devote it to other times. So that's the leg there. You can see the stuffing in the middle. It isn't a lot. It doesn't need to be a lot.
Just enough, yeah. And that's the breast without the chicken.
So the little bits end up being for the little people. Actually harder to find the cling film than it is to get the tin foil off. So these look very small. So I would slice it on an angle.
Yeah.
And again, because it's cold,
so neat though.
You get far more accuracy. And again, your portions are much smaller, as in, I don't mean you're deliberately serving small portions, I mean they're all piled up on a tray. The trays come out.
And
if you had 10 portions on that tray and you had 3 trays in, you'd know you'd have 30 portions.
Yeah.
So everything is sort of following a system.
Yeah.
So I said 2 white and 1 brown, or if you wanted more, again.
So you literally stack them as you're going to plate them?
Stack them, yeah.
It's a real method to your madness, isn't there?
Well, it's definitely mad, but anyway, I know each time when I look at the tray how many portions there are.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a few gulpins in my house. I don't know if 2 in 1 would do them. There's the Christmas Day is the real day that people feast out.
Well, I've tried to cut the portions down because I know we're eating too much. Now remember, you've got 2 of those, 1 of those,
yeah, I hear you.
and 1 of those,
I hear
and
you.
all the vegetables.
Yes, you're telling me.
So
Nicola, calm down.
each year I have cut it back a bit, and I'm still said to myself, still too much.
Right. And everybody's full afterwards, yeah?
Yep, everybody's super full, and it's just, we're all walking around wishing we hadn't done it. So some pieces are ever so slightly smaller. So again, I mean, I'm not even halfway through the turkey.
Right.
So how many portions have I got there?
I know, you've got 6 nearly, and then you've got 1 for the little ones too.
So just because my portions are perhaps a little skinny, doesn't mean that you'd have to follow that. I've still only used, I've got all of this.
And Tim, tell me, you know the way, how, because people at home would be very used to the traditional way of cooking, but yours is rolled up and all of that. And I know we follow a method of, X amount of minutes and then keep it in for a further 20. But if people at home are worrying, how do I check it's cooked? Do you have any method for checking?
Well, if you don't have a probe, and not many people, in fairness, do have a probe, you are going to have to put your knife in. So
to one of the...
a small knife somewhere.
No.
I must have moved it.
Your stock's spoiling up well here now.
We can take that off the heat now.
I take it off?
Put it to one side. So a small knife or a skewer.
Okay.
And this needs to go into the thickest part of the turkey. So we've obviously dissected everything.
Yeah.
But into the leg.
Through the tin foil.
Into the breast, but if you don't put a knife in this size, you'll damage it.
Okay.
Something smaller, a smaller knife,
yeah.
or even a trussing needle.
Yeah.
And then we were told to put it here,
right,
on your wrist. And if you go ow, then obviously you've got to the temperature.
And it's cooked.
In the old days, we were told to put it on your bottom lip. And if you went ow, but obviously we can't really say that now.
Yeah.
So now we urge people to use a probe.
Okay.
Okay. So this is another reason why this, to me, is more foolproof.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we put tin foil over this, we put some stock into this, and this will all heat up nice and slowly.
And when you say stock into this, sorry, I know, but you do have to break things down for me. Literally pour it over all. I don't know if you. Yeah.
We'll do that now.
Okay. Because I'm looking at the cocktail sausages and everything.
Are you getting hungry now?
I am. I'm starting to imagine this. Yeah.
So if you had a starter, whether it was a soup or a prawn cocktail or smoked salmon or whatever it was you wanted to do, or maybe they're all different, I don't know, you would then prepare that. I would go for things that are maybe cold.
For a starter?
Yeah, obviously a soup isn't, but you could have that heated up. It's fairly simple, it's one pot.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to go for pate and smoked salmon and prawn cocktail, it makes it more complicated, but you can have those prepared earlier.
Yeah.
So just before you serve those, you want to put your stock over this. So as soon as that stock's heated up, I've actually forgotten the ham. The students will be very disappointed.
Oh, yeah, the ham to go into it. All right, okay. So all on the plate, literally everything that's hot. What about your stuffing balls? They're just separate. You don't put the
They're going to
there.
go into the oven, but because
Separate.
they're
Okay. So this is an extra layer for people.
Well, again, I wouldn't serve this. I would have done
Your bacon.
just the bacon.
This is real Irish, isn't it? The ham. And funny, I wouldn't. I'd be more just turkey on its own myself.
But each time you look at these, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
People.
and children.
Yeah.
They're all people.
Yeah. That's your family of 6 there, all done. This is boiling up nicely for you here now.
Okay. So this is going to need 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's all. And you said they'll cover it with tin foil.
I'm going to cover it with tin foil when I've put the stock on.
Yeah.
Over here. So you heat up your stock. Again, this is the stock that would have been straight out of here 3 hours later. And this is your sauce.
Yeah.
And this is being thickened with a bit of flour.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, I mixed it up. It wasn't your kind of gravy sauce. This is just plain old stock.
Yeah, if you did use the gravy, it would sort of gel up
Okay.
and possibly burn at the bottom.
So you're just draining, so all the liquid's going through. So I would never have thought of doing this with the sausages and everything, to be honest, Tim. And again, we probably didn't say this to people, but the sausages and all were pre-cooked that you bought from the shop. They were all pre-cooked.
Well, no, I bought them raw.
Raw, but then and then you cooked them.
Put them onto a tray with
So
butter.
they are cooked going on
Remember,
there.
we put them onto a tray with butter.
Yeah.
And we cooked them off normally.
Okay,
So
that's
this is about preparation.
Yeah.
But I certainly wouldn't consider doing it anywhere near, the 23rd, 24th, ideally.
Yeah.
Maybe the evening of the 23rd.
Yeah. Jeez, if you got that far, you'd be laughing.
Well, just to know when you go to bed, you've got things
Oh my
sorted
God.
and you can enjoy.
Christmas Day.
So, and remember the amount of time this would have been in the oven. We're
Yeah.
talking 3.5 hours. And
Okay,
then, and where
see
would
at
you
home.
put it to cool down?
People are in the kitchen for 4 or 5 hours at times on Christmas Day. So 20 minutes in the oven now. And you got it still at 175, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks to the magic of video.
Yeah.
So this has now been in 20 minutes. Put these out of the way.
You've got 3 different versions on the go. One that you've cooked earlier and now one that's already
I'll be
done.
glad to see the end of this.
Yeah. I think you've 3 variations on the go here.
So I'm going to microwave. It's just a selection to go with what
of
we've
your
got
veg.
there. So 3 minutes, and again, I'll go back. I'm not going to take them out until I see steam pouring from the top
From the veg.
of the vegetables. So you literally take them out and hold them up.
Okay.
And let's just put this onto a jet while I get my board ready.
Yeah. Ready to road. Oh, you're just keeping it warm that way?
Yep. So I have my stuffing bowls and everything else that have been flashed in the
That's cauliflower, is it, Tim?
No, this is parsnip.
Or parsnip,
Yep.
sorry.
I just need something with a hook.
Your sauce, heating it up again.
Yep.
So this is where the pressure starts adding for people at home. Getting it all ready and plated and all still warm. Do you plate everything for people, Tim, or you mentioned just you hand the bowls of veg around?
I usually think it takes a long time to get everything round, so depending on who's coming, if there's elderly relatives or whatever, I would probably put everything onto the plate so they've got everything and they can go and get into their meal.
Yeah.
So we'll move those to one side. We have our veg in, potatoes in, so we're just going to put our plates out and put those in the oven. So you don't have to, if you don't have a second oven to put your plates in. I remember I had a friend that used to put them in the sink and just heat them up with boiling water,
Right.
or they even put the dishwasher on and took them out straight out the dishwasher, so they're nice and hot. But you want to make sure your plates are nice and hot.
Yeah. My granny, she used to cater for the whole family, so there was over 30 of us for Christmas dinner.
30?
Yeah. So I suppose like that, she had a kind of a hot lock. I don't know if they sell them anymore, but you know, to keep things warm, it was a great.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen them about any longer.
My mum had a cabinet. She had a name for it.
Yeah, well, Nan, she called it a hot lock, whether that's the right name or not. They just don't seem to do them any longer.
So just watch when you open this up.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of steam.
And there's a little bit of juice there.
There's still stock, so if I'd reduced my sauce down too much, that's where I'd find an extra bit of flavour.
Okay. Wow, it is steaming hot. And that was only 20 minutes in the oven.
Yep, yeah. So we'll go with one with just the turkey.
Let me check your veg if they're steaming. I wouldn't say well.
No,
another bit?
Another 3 minutes, yeah.
How many?
Just another 3 minutes.
3. I'm sure for you it's all. Yeah, what do you want?
Just stir that sauce on the stove there.
No problem. For you, it's obviously all in the presentation, Tim. For me, it's just getting it out.
just relieved it's gone out.
Yeah.
So there's still 1, 2, 3, 4 portions in there. Plenty of the little sausages.
Yeah, it's just a nice quantity.
Well, especially with the ham.
Yeah.
When you add that ham in,
that's a whole other layer.
That's a lot of meat, and there's a limit to how much meat we're really supposed to be consuming. And in fact, some people would argue with the fact that you shouldn't be eating meat at all. So perhaps if we cut down on the amount of meat that we consume on a daily basis or a weekly basis, it'd be much healthier for us.
You
can
okay?
see the steam.
Yeah, there's plenty of
pouring
steam
out
there.
the top.
Yeah. And I think you're ready to go here with your sauce too. Did you put in the flour in this, Tim? You did.
There was flour in there.
You had it done. No, because I'm asking that because I can feel the texture in it.
So again, I'm just plating up the whole
all the veg
selection.
So you have your potatoes in through your veg.
The boiled potatoes, yeah. So we have some roasted potatoes from the air fryer in the other room. And I find these air fryers are absolutely fantastic. They really are.
For that kind
of
job.
Good. I mean, you can flash fry as well, items. And you'll find that the air fryer will finish them off nice and golden brown and reduce the amount of fat that you're serving. And our turkey rolls are all finishing off now.
This is actually the thing I'm most looking forward to tasting, are these. They look very interesting.
So this is just parsnip, and they're just chips of parsnip that we used.
And in air fryer.
In the air fryer and finished, just reheated in the oven.
Reheated in the oven, yeah. Sorry, I was supposed to be watching that, was I?
Even the smell of that now has really, it's changed, it's gone quite shiny. So a few roast potatoes. If you spill something on the plate, here's my trick. Just put the potato on where you spilt an item and it fills up, it takes the marks off the plate. So there's a bit of water there off the vegetables. And I think there's more than enough there if you tried to eat that. Now obviously there's maybe some people that would say, Tim, I'd finish that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, well, I know 1 or 2 definitely. That's beautiful, Tim.
So that is your roast turkey dinner with the ham, your stuffing balls, your stuffed legs, your chipolata sausages, or cocktail sausages.
As I call them,
and your bacon rolls.
Very nice. Now just time to sit down, neat, huh?
And these were just the skin off the parsnips.
Right.
But again, instead of throwing them away, there's just a different texture on the top. You can actually see the skin. So
you really do reuse them. How did you cook them?
Just into the oven and just dry them out on a low temperature, about the 110, I think it was, for about 20 minutes, and the tray was buttered.
And you just serve them cold?
Yes, yeah. So
can I taste one?
You can even powder them.
No.
Yeah, try a little thin one, and some of them are a bit thick. The peelers that we have.
Oh my God, they're really tasty, Tim. Have
really,
you some salt or something on that?
There might be a little bit of salt. Some of the peelers that we have, some of them come off quite thick in the sets. So some of them can be quite tough.
They're lovely.
There's a nice snap.
Yeah.
You can even make a powder out of it. Put it into your rubber coupe, mix it up, make a powder, and put it into a parsnip soup or something. But that is. That's
us, folks. That's our Christmas dinner in Killybegs. Compliments of Tim Dewhirst.
And your cranberry sauce.
Oh yeah.
And if you want to make a bread sauce, well, I'll leave you to that.
So folks, Tim's made this look very simple. This is just the start of a series of demonstrations we'll be showing, not monthly, but we'll definitely do them on special occasions. So tune in, and we look forward to having you listening in. Thank you.